The NHL Network dropped their list of top centers heading into next season, and to no surprise, Roope Hintz is still underrated. But he does have the chance to join the likes of Mike Modano next year. I'll tell you how on Locked On Stars.
Your Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. Roope Hintz is coming off his third consecutive season in the National Hockey League of at least scoring 30 goals. And somehow he dropped in this year's rankings of top centers in the NHL. How? I don't know. I don't think they even know, but we're going to dive into it on today's episode of Locked On Stars. We have a jam-packed Friday show for you today, including Josh and Razor are back on Victory Plus, and Matty Beniers got paid. How does that affect Wyatt Johnston's next contract after this season? We'll discuss that a bit later on as well. Drop a like, drop a comment, hit the notification bell, and subscribe. Never miss an episode of Locked On Stars. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. We all know Roope Hintz is severely underrated, but this time it really fired me up. So we're going to make a case for Roope Hintz to be a bit higher on this year's rankings of top centers in the NHL. The NHL Network has been dropping these lists, and they're a lot of fun. But Roope Hintz comes in at number 14 this season. He was number 13 last year. How he drops, I don't know, after having 3 consecutive 30 goals seasons. And I mentioned and alluded to Mike Modano at the top of today's episode. And yes, with one more 30-plus goal campaign from Roope Hintz, he will be the first star with 4 consecutive 30-goal seasons since, you guessed it, number 9, Mike Modano. He has the chance to join the likes of a franchise-altering player, which I think really, really symbolizes how impactful Roope Hintz has been during his time as the number 1 center with the Dallas Stars. And I'm not here to argue he didn't have a dip in offensive production last year, 65 points in 80 games. It's actually pretty interesting to look at all-star center icemans. You have Matt Duchene. He had 65 points. Hintz was 65. Wyatt had 65. And Pavelski had 67. They were all sort of bunched in there. And that also speaks to a lot of the depth that Dallas possessed last year. And it just seemed like at any given moment, one player could just pop off and have a stretch where he was really dominating offensively. And we never really got that from Roope Hintz. And I discussed in an episode about a week ago here on Locked On Stars about Roope Hintz and how productive he has been with Dallas and how underrated he truly is. And that's a callback to David Castillo's article on D Magazine when he compared some of Roope's numbers to his peers in the Selke Trophy voting, Austin Matthews, Barkov, and plenty of others. And Roope Hintz offensively was just behind Austin Matthews when it comes to efficiency at 5-on-5, power play, and expected offense. He's only behind a generational scorer in the NHL and looks like he's headed on a path to the Hall of Fame in Austin Matthews. Roope Hintz was only behind him when it comes to expected offense. And even defensively, he was the number 1 ranked forward in terms of shorthanded defense. He ranked about middle of the pack in expected defense, but he was the strongest penalty killer on that list as well. And somehow Roope Hintz comes in at number 14. And look, this position group is absolutely loaded. I'm not as I guess fired up about the rankings, so to speak, as it's where Roope's sort of positioned in this group, because McDavid, obviously, McKinnon, Matthews, Draisaitl, Barkov, Crosby, all extremely, extremely fantastic players. But Braden Point is in there, Eichel at 8, Hughes at 9, Pettersson at 10. But what really sort of grinds my gears is a player like Connor Bedard at number 13, right above Roope Hintz. And this is not me throwing shots at Connor Bedard. I think he's going to be a wonderful player in the National Hockey League someday. But he's coming off his rookie season. He was hurt, still had a very nice season. But Roope Hintz has had, let me say it, 3 consecutive seasons of 30 goals. That's not something to scoff at while being the best defensive forward on his team and helping lead them, or was at least a part of the Stars getting to the Western Conference Final in 2 consecutive seasons. And Bedard is in a much different situation. I completely understand. Aho, not a ton to gripe with there. He's good. JT Miller, even. He's coming off a 103-point season. It's really hard to argue Roope should be ahead of him, but I think you can make the case when you look at the totality of play and the totality of Roope Hintz's numbers when it compares to other. It's not all about lighting up the score sheet. And JT Miller did that a ton, had a huge breakout year for sure. I just feel like Roope Hintz is closer to, let's say, that group of Crosby and Barkov and Point than I would say he is to Suzuki and Stützle and Larkin, if that makes sense. I just feel like he should be a bit closer to that group as who we deem really, really elite players. And you can certainly push back and say, well, if he wants to be considered a part of that group, he needs to produce offensively at a higher clip than he has been. And I can certainly see that sentiment, and I can acknowledge he needs to produce at a much better elite level if he wants to be in that upper echelon of number 1 centers. And I think next season he will have the opportunity to do that. I've talked about it with Jason Robertson this week and even Roope last time. He's coming into a season where it looks like he's going to match up with Wyatt Johnston. And I looked at the numbers from Jason Robertson compared to Joe Pavelski and Wyatt Johnston. It is a significant increase in uptick when Robertson was playing alongside the young kid. I think Roope Hintz is going to benefit from that. I think the entire line is going to benefit from that. And they're going to establish themselves as, frankly, probably the best line in the National Hockey League. I don't think that's too much of an over-exaggeration. We saw Pavelski and those two for a couple of years really dominated at 5-on-5. I don't see much of a reason to think that that line of Roope, Robo, and Johnston will not be able to do that next season. They're just really, really good. And we saw it for spurts during last year and a whole offseason, a whole training camp, and a whole season to go of this next year with those 3 together. I think are going to be really, really strong, and they're just going to fall in really nicely with each other. So the top 20 centers, I'll go through the list for you. McDavid, McKinnon, Matthews, Draisaitl, Barkov, Crosby, Point, Eichel, Hughes, and Pettersson. That's your top 10. Then it's JT Miller, Sebastian Aho, Bedard, Roope Hintz at number 14, Larkin, Suzuki, Stützle, Robert Thomas, Zibanejad at 19, and then Hischier at number 20. So that's your top 20 centers right now, according to the NHL Network, heading in to next season. I just feel like Roope Hintz is a bit low for my liking, and he was at number 13 last year, and he dropped. How? I don't necessarily know, because he's Roope Hintz, and he'll be underrated probably till the day he leaves the ice, but that's okay. We love him here in Dallas, and we're going to appreciate him. And as I mentioned, he can join the likes of Mike Modano, and that is not too shabby. With 1 more year of 30-plus goals, he'll be the first star with 4 consecutive 30-goal seasons since Mike Modano. So we'll keep an eye out on that for next year as well. There's my gripes with the NHL Network lists. And there's some good lists. I'll be honest. It gets the discussion rolling, gets the ball rolling. So I'll give them that, but let's give Roope his due. It's about time. But maybe this is the year he pops off offensively and he really starts to join those conversations of elite number one centers. All righty. Some good news on the Victory Plus front. Once again, cannot wait. The all-new streaming channel where you can watch Stars games for free next season. Josh Bogorod and Razor are coming back. Don't you worry. We'll talk a bit more about that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Indeed. We're driven by the search for better, but when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. You don't have a ton of time to be searching online. Use Indeed. It takes all of the long, hard parts out of it, and you can find quality candidates. So join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/lockedon. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Once again, Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Hey, Stars fans, thank you so much for making Locked On Stars your first listen of the day. For your second listen, make it Locked On NHL. Locked On NHL provides you with a national perspective on all things NHL each and every day, national experts, and local insight on every team in the league. Available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you so much for all the love and support recently on every single video. Please be sure to drop a like, drop a comment, hit the subscribe button. Never miss an episode of Locked On Stars. It's hard to believe we're only about 48 days, I believe, from the season opener against the Nashville Predators. It is right around the corner, which means we get to hear from, once again, Daryl, the Razor Ray, and Josh Bogorod. They will return as your color analyst and play-by-play announcers for Victory Plus. This doesn't come as too much of a surprise with their recent work with Bally Sports, but they have made it official. Josh and Razor are coming back to be your broadcast team for the Dallas Stars. And President and CEO Brad Albert said Razor and Josh are widely recognized as one of the best broadcast duos in professional sports. Their chemistry, passion, and knowledge of the game are on display during every broadcast as the team enters our inaugural season on Victory Plus. We couldn't ask for a better pair to help usher in the next era of Stars broadcast. Could not have said it better myself. They are one of the best duos in the entire NHL and cannot wait to hear them together once again on Victory Plus. Also, the team did announce, and I don't believe this was made public or I've mentioned this in another episode, that the Victory Plus app will be available for download beginning on Wednesday, September 11th. So mark your calendars, Wednesday, September 11th in the App Store, Google Play, and all major television streaming device. You will be able to download the Victory Plus app, which will be a ton of fun. It says Victory Plus will officially be available for download on the 11th, beginning with the 24-25 season. All regional Stars games will be broadcast on Victory Plus, a free direct-to-consumer streaming service created for fans, announced earlier this summer. More information about how to download the app and other frequently asked questions can be found on dallasstars.com/Victory Plus. So give that a look if you have any questions. It is only available to people within the region of the Dallas Stars. I know many had questions about, is it going to be available in Canada? Because some of you, of course, are Stars fans in Canada and other parts of the world, but it's only going to be in this region. It says the Stars will celebrate the launch of the industry's first completely free DTC streaming service alongside special guests from Dude Perfect and other Dallas Stars personalities at an invitation-only launch event, which is scheduled for the 11th as well. Celebration will kick off with a press event for media members from 4 to 6 p.m. More details on the event will be shared at a later date. So keep September 11th in mind. It looks like it'll be a very, very big day for the Dallas Stars. Cannot wait for Victory Plus. It seems like it's going to be an absolute hit financially. Probably not, but for Stars fans everywhere, this is a great, great thing. And I'm really excited to see what the product looks like. Is it going to look good? I would assume. I don't think you can put any sort of live television out in today's day and age and have it not be really perfect. It's just that's what it has to be. Otherwise, people will tune out very, very quick. But I think Victory Plus is going to be a smash hit for the upcoming season, and it's free, so that's not too bad at all. But September 11th, you will be able to download it. So be prepared, get it on Google Play, download it on phones and televisions, and yeah, we're about 48 days away from the season opener. We got training camp right around the corner. And yeah, it's going to be a fantastic season. I can't wait for it to start ramping up again. I'm super, super intrigued to see the defensive pairings. Number one, who is Miro going to pair with? Are Miro and Harley still going to be together? Where does Dumba and Labushkin fit in? It's going to be pretty mesmerizing, I believe, here in the next month or so. But yeah, I wanted to share that Josh and Razor are coming back as your broadcast duo for Victory Plus. So good news there. Okay, let's segue into Matty Beniers, who got paid by the Kraken the other day. This could be a bit of a benchmark for Wyatt Johnston and what his deal looks like at the end of next season. Let's discuss that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Gametime. Gametime is obsessed with finding you ways to save money on tickets. Gametime has a new feature called Gametime Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Gametime Picks filters out all the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste your time searching through thousands of tickets. You want to get to a Texas Ranger game before their season comes to an end. They're not going to make the playoffs, it looks like, sadly. Go ahead and use Gametime. It takes all the guesswork out of buying tickets. It can show you your seat before you buy it, so you know exactly what you're getting to when you get there. It also makes it easier to save money. And it's not just the Texas Ranger games, not just Stars games, comedy, theater, concerts, you name it, they have it. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. So Matty Beniers from the Seattle Kraken was paid very handsomely the other day. 7 years at $7.142 million. And Beniers and Wyatt Johnston will sort of be compared throughout their careers. They came in at around the same time. And of course, they battled for the Calder Trophy, and they are sort of linked for the rest of their careers. They're both 21 years of age. And Beniers finally got his payday and a long-term extension. So how does that affect Wyatt Johnston? If you look at the numbers, let's just compare really 2 seasons. Beniers played a handful of games in 21-22. But if you just look at the career numbers, Beniers has played in 167 games. He has 42 goals, 61 assists, and 103 points. Johnston, on the other hand, has played 164 games, so very similar. He has 56 goals and 50 assists. So pretty similar numbers, 106 points overall for Beniers. So they're only separated by 3. So Beniers is a good benchmark for Wyatt Johnston. What does this mean? Of course, Wyatt has another year to produce. Beniers was coming off a season where his production dipped a little bit, but so did everybody's in Seattle. And I think many would agree that was more of a fluke than anything for Beniers. He's going to establish himself as a very solid player. His career high was 57 points in 22-23. Of course, Johnston's coming off a year where he had 32 goals. It was a breakout season. He was arguably the best forward for the Dallas Stars in the postseason as well. He's actually had some really nice postseason runs. So where does Johnston kind of fall into this equation. The good thing is Ben is coming off the books, that $9.5 million cap hit. More than likely, he's going to stay with the Stars. So the Stars are going to have plenty of room to make this deal happen. I think this is a really easy, 8-year, $8 million a year contract. And if Johnston comes out next season and just blows Beniers out of the water, or just blows his production out of the water, then he could have he could make a case that he needs to be paid very, very handsomely. But when you look at it right now with the season to go, and I think Johnston's going to be a better player than Beniers down the line. I've never been very high on Beniers, just to throw that out there. It feels like this is easy. 8 years, around $8 million per year. You get Johnston locked up and you feel really good. Now, that also bears in mind, what does Roope look like at that time? Roope, of course, is making 8.45. Is Johnston going to want to get more than that? What does the agent kind of think about where Johnston falls into this sort of thing? I think it's an intriguing conversation to have, certainly. But I think it feels like that's where Wyatt is going to sort of be, maybe 7-8 years, around $8 million per year, and you feel pretty good about that. And it would be a bit larger of a payment, of course, than Beniers at 7.1, but they're getting Beniers done early. But they've also forked over huge sums of cash to Montour and Stevenson in the offseason as well. That certainly affected what they could give Beniers, because they have a lot of money tied up in Montour and Stevenson. I'm sure they don't want to go the Toronto Maple Leafs route where you just pay everybody, $10 million, and that really, really hampers what you're able to do. So, I'm intrigued to see where Wyatt comes in at. We still have a long time before that really gets sorted out. But Beniers is just one of the dominoes to fall here in where kind of Wyatt Johnston is going to be compared to. Have very similar numbers with 164 career games for Johnston, 167 for Beniers, and their points are only separated by 3. So pretty crazy stuff. So we'll see how it all plays out here in the next few months or so. But Beniers is a domino to fall, and I'm excited to watch Johnston another full year. Can he really back it up, right? He didn't have a sophomore slump, even though he had a stretch there where he really struggled, but he didn't show any signs of slowing down. Hopefully we get that again, or is there going to be some regression here next season, playing some bigger minutes, playing on the top line? He's going to be a focus of other teams too. Like, don't let 53 beat us. So it's going to be a ton of fun. That is for sure. So that'll wrap up today's episode of Locked On Stars. A jam-packed Friday show for you today. Some good stuff all the way around. It's been a wonderful week. Thank you so much for all the love and support as always. Please be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, drop a like, and drop a comment below. I love scrolling through and reading all your feedback and thoughts on the Dallas Stars. Training camp right around the corner. Another week is done here on Locked On Stars. Have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday. So long, Stars fans.